Truly whatever you're comfortable with, you know? I mean, sometimes when you're talking, it's nice to see your face, but I also don't care. It's totally fine. So whatever you want. All right. So I'm told my sound is good tonight, which is like the first time we've gotten that right off the bat. So why don't we just take a moment and just kind of let the dust settle a little bit? I know I need a moment just to shift from my day into this session, and I'm sure you probably do too. And I swear, Lisa, it looks like there's a bird flying in your background. Really? Decades. I never knew that about you. Okay. That's what you don't get when a person keeps their camera off. All right, let's just sink into our chair and just relinquish the story a little bit. You know, right now you've got this story of your day, whether it was good or bad, kind of controlling the energy in your body. And that's because that story has your attention, and whatever you place your attention on expands inside of you and outside of you. So take a moment and just step into the now. Sink into your breath. And when you step into this moment, step into it as if you're never going to leave. Step into it with abandon. And step into it with patience. Being in this moment requires the kind of mindset that you have when you're just sitting under a tree with a giant field in front of you. Sun is going down. There's been nothing to do for hours, and there's nothing to do for the rest of the night. And you're just listening. Reaching out with your senses to what this moment has to offer. In patience and expansiveness. Sink into that for a little bit. I want you to sink into your breath. There are many special things about the breath. But tonight we're going to use the breath to clean the energy out of our bodies. The lingering densification of the feelings of our day. We're going to move them out with the breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, it's kind of like a bellows, kind of like an accordion. Air is being sucked in and air is being blown out. But it also creates a circulation in the energy in our body. And so we're going to direct and intensify that circulation to various parts of our body. So first, just get in touch with the breath. Breathe in, breathe out, naturally. And feel the slight sense of dynamic motion that produces in your body. See if you can capture that with your awareness. Now I want you to pay attention to your forehead, your crown, and the back of the head. Okay, the entire upper center. And I want you to feel that dynamic movement of the breath up there, intensifying, not becoming sharper, but just becoming more and more noticeable. Take a moment and do that. On the inhale, you'll feel energy stirring. On the exhale, energy will be pushing outward away from your head and neck in all directions. See if you can feel it. from this space, close your eyes and just gently scan through your body. And what you're looking for are little spots that are just kind of wrinkled. The energy is just kind of like a wrinkled sheet of paper. Somewhere where the energy just doesn't flow quite smoothly. It's pulled in, protecting itself. Usually some ugly story from your day, but you don't have to recognize what the story is. Just notice the spot in your body. Take a moment and find the most wrinkled spot, the darkest spot, the deadest spot. And now with your breath, bring your attention down to that spot. On the inhale, feel it mobilizing a little bit. On the exhale, that wrinkle gets stretched out. It unfolds, it opens, and releases outward. On the inhale, it might pull in a little bit again, and that's okay. On the exhale, it unfolds, opens up, and reaches outwards in all directions. It yields. But it's a pattern, so it might take many breaths to really get the wrinkles out. Do that now. Place your attention in the wrinkled spot. On the inhale, the energy mobilizes. Feel it. Change becomes possible. On the exhale, everything releases, expands, unfolds. Now you're going to ask your body a question. And the question is, what place in my body is most keeping me from experiencing vibrant, energetic harmony right now? You're going to ask that question, and you're going to pay attention to what spot lights up on your body. And then you are going to go to that spot and do this practice. Again, that question is, what spot in my body is most keeping me from experiencing vibrant, energetic harmony right now? What needs this attention? And then stay silent, and the body will show you, and then go there and free it up, just like we told you how. If you're not feeling it, you're not relaxing. Let go. The stakes are very low here. It's okay. Patience, expansiveness, timelessness. Nothing to understand. Just do. If you get that spot flowing and the body sends you somewhere else, follow it, listen to it. that you've untangled yourself a little bit and gotten a little improvement in the energy patterns in your body, open your eyes the way we do in normal meditation. And give your attention to consciousness itself. On the inhale, focus on just being aware. On the exhale, give your silent permission for consciousness to unfold in all directions. Released. Let go. Liberated. Allow consciousness to unfold into its true form. Give everything permission to become more of itself. As you inhale and exhale. Let it unfold. Let it all go. Hold nothing in reserve. Set it all free. let's talk a little bit and then we'll go back in. When you unfolded your consciousness on the exhale and you set it all free, I'm wondering how many of you felt dramatically better upon doing that. You can put your answer in the chat. I see one yes. Okay. Okay. So the reason that you feel better when you do that is because you are everything you see. Your entire life story, everything that can come into your awareness, you are that. There's no separation between your inner experience of life and your outer experience of life. Just like when you go to sleep at night and every person you meet is actually a version of you, everything that you hold in your life is a version of you. They might not all be versions that you like, but those things that capture your attention, that you hold in place, those things are inseparable from you. And what makes them so intolerable is your need to control them. At the end of the day, at the center of every good and bad thing is the one consciousness that runs your entire life. And everything is just trying to get back to a space of freedom, back to a space of its true self. The things that we label as bad are just going about it in bad ways. They're going about it in ways that aren't going to get them there anytime soon. And we have parts of ourselves that are like that we kind of repress. And so to give those parts expression, we keep people in our life that cause us these difficulties. But when you set your entire world free, when you actually sit there and on the inhale become aware of your consciousness, aware of this moment in its entirety, and then on the exhale, you set all of it free. You allow all of it to unfold. Because that's all it is. That's all our experience of life is. It's just a wrinkle in true consciousness. And it's okay. Beautiful things happen in the interplays of light and dark from those wrinkles. That's where life happens. But when things get so rigid and so stuck that we hold them in place inside our body and even in what we perceive to be our external environment, and that can be as huge as just harboring a very strong opinion about someone and not really opening a door for them to show you something different. It can be anywhere from that all the way down to just how you define a wall or a chair or a table. What's possible for that chair? What's possible for that wall? You decide those things. You hold them all in place with your understanding of the characteristics of life. And whether that chair or wall is capable of becoming anything different or not, you shouldn't be the one deciding. You should give it its freedom. And when you set your entire world free in those moments where you're able to do that, you have been set free. Now, we started with going through your body, looking for little individual wrinkles in your energy flow. Because if you have a lot of those, you're going to have a harder time with the big let go that I'm asking of you. So if you get to that point and you find you're just not there, you just can't do it, you can't get off the ground, then go back and find the stuck spots and just nurture them with your breath. Let the breath kind of mobilize things and then let them expand on that exhale. And even if they're not ready to become unstuck, you will be moving energy through a stuck place. You know, the only difference is if it becomes unstuck, it'll have energy moving through it even when you're not working on it. Does all of that make sense, or am I just kind of blabbering to myself? The other thing I'd like you to see from all of this is that meditation is not a technique. Meditation is an interaction with reality. So we can sit and say, okay, when we meditate, we watch our breath, we put our eyes in one place, we do all these things. And that's how I teach it to you, because it's helpful for you guys to get something like a pattern in your nervous system that leads you down that road. But the truth is, meditation is taking flight. It's sitting down and just loosening up all of the stuck places in ourself, all of the places that are held in place by non-reality, by just this silly story of our lives, this thing that's going to rot in our head in the next 50 years in the ground. And instead, we throw ourselves open to the big everything else that isn't that story. And we do that by setting everything free. We let go of all of our opinions about it. We let go of our definitions and our names. And you even let go of your own name for a period of time. Don't worry, it'll all come screaming back in when you stop practicing. But the more time you spend in that freedom, the more energy you will have at your disposal for true realization, for true evolutionary spiritual growth. The kind of growth that makes your life on this plane of wrinkles much, much better and much more useful to everybody around you. You know, and it happens to all of us. I get them too. You know, we are feeling other people in our world. So even when you've got yourself together, you know, you're still going to accumulate blobs of energy that will start to draw your attention. And you have to do something every day to clean them up. Sometimes just meditation is enough. But other times, you have to just go right to it and work on it. Are there any questions about any of that? Okay. So why don't we go back in, and I want you to see if you can spend the rest of this session in absolute released freedom. Can you liberate your world at least for the next 20 minutes? Okay? If you really can't, then go back and do the individual releasings and then try and go back. All right? It's just like getting a balloon off the ground. What do they call those things? I can't remember. But those big balloons that are weighted down and have a basket on them. Hot air balloons. There we go. It's just getting one of those off the ground. So you might have to go down and just work on one of those sandbag wrinkles to untether it and then see if you can get the balloon off the ground. Okay? All right. Interrupt me if there are any questions, but otherwise, let's go back in. When the energy wanes, which it always does, don't use that as an excuse to stop setting everything free. Let the cycle be what it has to be. Set it free. Now I want to leave you tonight with a higher application of this teaching. You might not be ready to use it, but you're welcome to try. So when we set everything around us free and we experience freedom, we experience being unbound, we let go of our expectations. I'm going to go down and see my husband after this session, and I leave him wide open to have had any experience today he needs to have. He could be a totally different person if he wants. I'm not going to hold him in place with my expectations. I made a vegan keto flatbread earlier today. It was absolutely disgusting. And I'm going to give it an opportunity to not be disgusting. I'm going to try it again and see if it's changed, if there's a different relationship to be had, or if there's something else that I can do with it. You set everything free so that you can feel freedom, so that you're not living in a prison of your own stories. But when you enter back into life, you're going to notice that you pretty much have to pick up a thread of a story, right? In order to accomplish most of your life, unless you're going to be some spiritual teacher on a high cushion that has all these minions doing that for you, you pretty much are still going to be working in the world of knowledge, right? Because that's really what we've let go of here tonight. We let go of knowledge because knowledge is weighing you down. But when you go back, you have an opportunity to pick up only the knowledge that is useful to you. only the knowledge that enlivens what it is you're trying to accomplish. You mostly won't. Mostly what you're going to pick up is a thread that has all the stories that were attached to it earlier today. Because that's just how you've set things up for yourself. But the higher teaching of this is that you can actually purify those threads of knowledge. And you do that with awareness. So just listen deeply to this and see how much of it you can pick up. It's a doozy. But you, when you are leaving this headspace of absolute freedom to engage with cooking your dinner, or engage with playing with your dog, or doing the dishes, or going to work, you can be in full awareness as you pick up that knowledge thread, as you take that back on. And you'll know what I'm talking about. If you'll start from that freedom space, you will notice the moment where you first get pulled back into the story. If you can be aware in those moments and go back into the story consciously, then you look at it and you look at the pieces of it that are not necessary, the pieces of it that are extraneous and just weighing it down with expectations. A lot of times expectations that have nothing to do with what you're trying to accomplish. And so you make a meditation of being in that space where you are still aware of the freedom space, but you are holding one of those threads, and you are using your clarity to purify that knowledge thread so that it leaves only what is useful. Now, those other threads, they're going to want to snap back onto it. So you're going to have to really stick with that kind of balance space between dealing with knowledge and experiencing freedom. But if you can just sort of stay in that space and just gently be in that space and give yourself little reminders to return to that space, you can actually clear debris off of the things that you have to do in a day, so that even the story can be a story of freedom. That involves everything we've ever talked about. It involves taking full responsibility for yourself and where you are and what you're choosing to do and who you're choosing to keep in your life. Maintaining awareness. But it's an advanced maneuver, and it's something you have to feel your way through. It's not something you can read about in a book. I don't know if it's ever even been written down. But you've heard it now and it's in there. See if you can play with it a little. This week, spend time in freedom every day. And then at least once or twice this week, try picking up a knowledge thread while still maintaining awareness of the freedom state, which actually is the meditative state, by the way. It's the joy of the meditative state. Just give it a try and see what you can pull off. Are there any questions or anything about that before we close up tonight? Anyone else? All right, guys. Well, thanks. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for spending the evening with me, and I will be back next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye.